Stats and metrics are meaningful. They don't mean everything. They have to be placed into context. But the more and more stats and metrics are repeated game after game, season after season, the more validity they have to be given. Such as the Iowa offense, not just for the past few years, not for the past 5 or 10 years, but even beyond that. Welcome to the Voice of College Football, Hawkeyes. And we are presenting to you the Iowa offense in a series that we are titling, Is This the Year? And in this one, is this the year that the Iowa offense finally produces a top 50 rushing attack, or a top 50 passing attack, or a top 50 total offense? Let's look at the numbers over the last several seasons and see where Iowa is placed despite teams based on great defensive and special teams play that have placed in the top 15 to 20 in the nation on a fairly regular basis. The offense has done this team absolutely no favor. So again, these are statistics that in any given year may be misleading, but over time there is no way that these statistics can be misleading overall. 130 teams in FBS football, 130. Consider that's been the bar. And as we go back into history, we're talking 128, 126, 120, but never less than 120 teams in FBS football. And these are the Iowa offensive numbers. All right, let's look at the rushing offense here. First, you see it displayed. 101st in the nation. And Iowa, if you would ask the average college football fan, not Iowa football fan, college football fan would say, well, Iowa runs the football. They're really good at running the ball, and that's where their success lies offensively. Well, number 101 this past season, number 60 in an 8-game 2020 season. And then you see the other numbers. In the 90s in 2019, 18, and 17, 69, 51. So that number 51 ranking in rushing offense in 2015, of course, that was the season Iowa went 9-0 in the Big Ten, 12-0 in the regular season before losing late on a goal line situation against Michigan State in the Big Ten championship game. That team came within seconds, I believe 27 seconds, going to the college football playoff. 51st in rushing. Then you see all the other figures, 65, 54, number 110 in 2012 in rushing the football, and on down the line. So we have to go all the way back to 2008 before we see an Iowa offense that rushed the football top 50 in the nation at number 26 in 2008. So is this the year that Iowa finally finishes in the top 50 in the nation in rushing offense? Let's look at the passing statistics. And Iowa has generally thrown the ball worse than it's rushed the football, but the statistics basically say it's just as bad. It's tough to distinguish. Number 109 last year, 100 in that 6-2 2020 season. Then you see in the 60s, 70s, 90s, again in 2016, 120th in the nation. So those numbers really stand out when you're bottom 20 to 30 in the nation, and that figure goes to triple digits. But keep in mind that these other seasons are not good either. 91st, 58th, a couple more rankings in the 100s in passing offense, and we got to go all the way back to 2010 to see when the last time Iowa placed in the top 50 in the nation in pass offense, and that was all of 49th. And if you go back to 2006, wow, they really threw it around that season at 27th in the nation. But again, 2008, the last time they rushed the football in the top 50 in the nation, and 2010 was the last time they passed it. Okay, let's put it all together for total offense to see where Iowa has placed. And of course, we want to know if you believe that Iowa is going to produce a top 50 offense in the nation, either rushing, passing, or total offense this season. 99th last year. Okay, 43rd. So that breaks the trend, and that would be technically the last time that they were top 50 in the nation. So we only have to go back 2 years. But again, an 8-game season, had they continued to play, possibly a Big Ten championship game, possibly a bowl game against better defenses. Don't know if they would have held on to that number 43 ranking. But they didn't get also the luxury of playing lesser opponents in the non-conference. So pretty impressive at number 43 in 2020. in the 90s. Number 117 and 123, those back-to-back seasons there. Really deplorable offense. And again, in 2012, it was really bad. 110 rushing, 108 passing, and number 123 overall. And so we've got to go all the way back. If we're looking for a top 50 offense in a full season for Iowa, we've got to go all the way back to 2006 when the Iowa Hawkeyes placed number 27 in the nation in total offense. Okay, let's look at the additions and the subtractions from Iowa's production in 2021 to see if we can forecast for 2022. Okay, Spencer Petras most likely will win the starting quarterback job, coming off of 10 touchdowns and 9 picks last season. He's coming up on season number 3. He should be an improved quarterback based on experience. Okay, at running back, we've got, of course, Tyler Goodson lost. 1,100 yards, 6 touchdowns, 31 catches out of the backfield. So they lose experience and production there. They had the two Williams who performed well in the bowl game against Kentucky. So there's hope for optimism. There is reason for optimism there. At wide receiver, Charlie Jones lost just entering the transfer portal here in the past week. 21 catches, 3 touchdowns. Tyrone Tracy takes 15 catches with him in the transfer portal as he moves on to Purdue. The big loss, of course, along the offensive line, the best center in college football, Tyler Linderbaum. So despite all the offensive struggles, the 99th ranked offense in the country, the best center could not factor into a better offensive showing than that. So I see no key additions because if you look at the 2022 recruiting class, most of the best players, according to the recruiting rankings, on the defensive side of the ball, Caleb Johnson at running back, but they probably don't need him as a freshman. So they have to get better on offense, but at the same time, look at the schedule. The group of 5 opponents are roughly the same. The out-of-conference, of course, the Iowa State game again. But in Big Ten play, replace what they faced last year, which was an outstanding Penn State, a very talented Penn State defense. And then the games against Maryland, one of their best offensive showings of the season, 51 points. I know a lot of that was defense generated, but the offensive numbers against Maryland were impressive. And then the other game, of course, against Indiana, again, 34 points looks impressive, but 2 pick sixes, the long touchdown run by Tyler Goodson early in the game there. The offense wasn't that spectacular against Indiana. So remove Indiana, Maryland, and Penn State from the schedule, replace them with Ohio State, Michigan, and their other Big Ten Eastern Division game against Rutgers. So I'm saying that they're playing better defensive teams in the Big Ten than they did face in 2021. So what's it add up to? What are the chances that Iowa produces a top 50 offense? I'm giving it about a 15 to 20% chance. Your thoughts down below right here at the Voice of College Football. Hawkeyes.